So earlier this week, we put out Daniel J. Scott put out a post that says, what topics would you like us to discuss on our next podcast? And Clinton C. Walker says, do a debate, paying for showcases / opening for bigger artists versus not doing so. All right. So, how do you feel about that, man? Let me throw it your way.
I think it's always a case by case scenario, right? I think that it can benefit you because that artist is going to bring, obviously, a crowd. It's a draw, you know what I mean? He's going to draw a crowd in. But the thing is are you even ready for that? Like, I remember when I was rapping, right? And I managed to get a show before someone called Skinny Man, which out here at the time was a big name. And so I got this little supporting role. I didn't pay for anything. I just knew the promoter. And I went there and my shit weren't together. I was just some so-and-so trying to rap and make a couple of songs or whatever. And I completely bombed. And whether I bombed or not, it just wouldn't have been useful to me because my shit wasn't in order. I'm just some guy on the stage that's in the way of the crowd and the person they came to see, so to speak. Is like, all right, hurry up, get off. We're here for such and such. I think unless you can provide on that platform, whether you're paying or not, it's only going to benefit you if you've got your branding in place, if you've got your catalog, if you've got your system in place. I think a lot of people think it's like some magic beans. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, you bring up a great point, man, and I kind of want to tag on to what you're saying. So here's the deal. On average, if you have an artist that comes to your city and they're going to do a show and you're able to bring them to the city, they're going to charge you anywhere from like $15,000 to $30,000, just depending on the particular artist that you bring out. I just recently had the pleasure of being involved in the process of seeing what it takes to bring an artist behind the scenes. I think it was back in November. I was involved with the Slick Rick concert. Slick Rick had a concert, and the people who paid to bring him out here invited me to come to the show. Shouts out to Ernie Glover. Shouts out to Quan Rick Production. And he invited me, and so I got to learn what happens on the back end, how much money it takes to bring these artists out. And I really believe that, number one, when you bring an artist out for the intent of opening up for them, people at the end of the day are only showing up to see that artist. Because at this particular event, you had like 15 people opening up for Slick Rick, and nobody knew who any of them were. Now, granted, they had their fan base that they brought out, and that's the proper way to do it. But for the most part, the crowd really got stupid when Slick Rick came on versus when the people who were opening up for him, not so much. So my question that I'm going to pose to everyone is, with the, I'm going to say, $15,000 to $20,000, $25,000 that it takes to bring this artist out, is there anything else in the universe that you could use that money for to help your brand grow outside of just having clout for the moment and opening up for a larger audience? That's the real question that you've got to ask yourself. You know what I mean?
100%, man.
Because I mean, the way that I look at it, I just kind of feel like, all right, if you've got $15,000 to $25,000 to bring an artist out, you're doing something right. Don't throw that money away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of times artists on the independent scene will feel as though they need to have that big name feature to make it happen, man. And I've seen so many people spend money on big name features and nothing happens. Yeah. Whereas you could have took that same amount of dollars and used it towards building up your own showcase. Because here's the deal. I've seen artists who do it differently. They've blown up without a single feature from a major artist. You know what I mean? So think about it in terms of quality versus quantity, and how much money you're going to have to spend, and whether or not it would be worth it to bring a big name artist out. Because let's keep it real, man. You're only doing that for the moment. Is that something long term? Or I'm going to shout out an artist by the name of 17 the Hog. Now, he paid for a feature with Pimp C. This was when Pimp C was alive. And they actually ended up forming a relationship, and Pimp C signed him to his label. So he finessed his way. I don't want to say finesse, that sounds awful, because he didn't finesse his way. He just built a relationship with Pimp C, and it was well worth the money that he spent for the feature. And as a matter of fact, as the story's told to me, Pimp C actually ended up giving him back his money that he paid for the feature, because the relationship was more important than the money. So if you're in a situation that's similar to that, and you're able to actually network with this person and build a true relationship, not anything that's just for the moment, then, make it happen. You know what I mean?
Definitely, man. I think everything just boils down to whether or not people are on their shit. If you're on your shit, maybe, a promoter asks, "Oh, do you want to be on this show for $300 for particular acts?" If you know your shit's together, if you know that you can go out there, you can pull the crowd in, you can convert it, then it's the same as running a Facebook ad campaign. You know what I mean? Or it's the same as getting paying for a shout out from an influencer. It's the same kind of thing. It's just whether or not you've got what it takes, if you've got the magnetism, if you've got the charisma, if you've got the showmanship, if you've got the etiquette and the presentation that's gonna pull people in off the back of that. I think that if you're just a lyrical, spiritual, miracle.
What'd you say? A
lyrical,
spiritual, miracle.
Yeah,
what?
I missed up the last two words. It was meant to be lyrical, spiritual, miracle, but I said lyrical, spiritual, miracle, or whatever. But if you just got a couple bars and you're just trying to see what happens off this shit, then it's probably a dud investment, man. Just go buy a pack of weed and think about your life, man. You know what I'm saying?